This is Christine Brown, and while I have to listen to this podcast as my motherly duty, you have the choice not to. My sons sometimes say some naughty things when they're trying to be funny, but really, they're just being stupid. If you still want to listen, go right ahead. I am not your mother.
Welcome back to the Patriots Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Brown. We are going through every game of the Patriots Dynasty era. We started in 2001. We are now week 14 of 2004. Patriots hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. So with me, as always, is reliable brother Steve Brown.
That's right. I'm Mr. Reliable, Steve Reliable Brown, just like Troy Brown, also very reliable.
Sure. Well, we'll go with that. No Greg Brown today because he's tired from working.
No, that's not true. We got rid of Greg. We upgraded him.
So, yeah. Well, without further ado, Steve, you have brought us a guest. Would you like to introduce him?
I know all of the long-suffering NFL franchise fans. So my buddy David Prue, the Bengals fan, is joining us for this 2004 Week 14 versus the Bengals.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to join you guys. I look forward to discussing the Bengals and Carson Palmer's first year as a full starter.
Yeah.
Long suffering no more as well.
That's true, yeah.
You guys are riding high, finally.
We'll see.
I remember I was in the car with you before the season started. You were stoked about the Bengals, and you were right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so should we start there? How do you feel about this most recent Super Bowl?
Seriously, it was a better than expected year. We're riding high with Jerry Burrow, Jamar Chase. What a great pickup. The young man playing quarterback got sacked way more times than we wished. Looks like our offensive line has been addressed very well. But I don't know the experience of being a New England sports fan because you guys have rings. We have disappointment. So, as happy as we were about making it to the Super Bowl, it ended the way Cincinnati sports ends, as always, with a close call and a loss. But we feel great. But what I do notice still, the national media still thinks that was a one-year wonder, and it puts doubt in the Cincinnati sports fans' head when we hear that. So, we're hoping to, accomplish our goals, get back there. But when you watch ESPN and all these other channels, we're not picked near the top of the AFC still. So still question whether or not it's retainable.
Wow, that's your problem right there. Listen to ESPN.
That is, yeah.
You should hear Boston sports talk. Apparently, the Patriots are fucking never going to win a game ever again.
Yeah.
There was
already talk about packaging Mac Jones and 2 first-round draft picks for Russell Wilson, even though he's already been traded. So that's cool.
There was a note from the commentators or a stat in this game that the Bengals hadn't had a winning season since 1990.
But they had been 8-8 for the past 2 or 3 years or something like that, and they would finish this year 8-8
games, right? And then they go to the playoffs a bunch of years in a row and lose because Carson's good, and then just couldn't get over that first round hump.
Well, they had the Carson injury too, which was that was their 1 year where they were kind of similar to this past year.
Came up on Hoffman with the Steelers, went low on Carson Palmer. But true Cincinnati sports fans are not Carson Palmer fans because Carson Palmer has been very negative towards the Bengals for a very long time, even recently saying that the Bengals will never protect him and he needs to find his way out after 2 great years. So Carson Palmer's a 4-letter word here in the greater Cincinnati area.
See, this is why we brought you on. I would have assumed that they love Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. He forced his way out of town, and obviously over the Super Bowl coverage. Carson Palmer spoke up very heavily against the Bengals front office. And, he's been out of the league for a couple years now. I don't know why he's even relevant anymore. Coming from a Cincinnati sports fan.
Okay, so what do they think about Corey Dillon?
That was going to be my next question.
This is the Corey Dillon revenge game.
That's a great transition. We love Corey Dillon.
Okay. But he also shot his way out of town. Allegedly.
Yeah, like worse, it seems.
But he did it right. He did it right because Corey was an exceptional talent, got very little support, and got frustrated. And the number one thing was he threw his pads and his helmet in the stands. He did get his helmet back, which was a big deal for him. But at that time, the franchise was in shambles, and it very, very much should have been. And Carson Palmer didn't have what he needed, and he forced his way out. And Marvin Lewis actually endorsed him to Belichick when they were going to make the trade. But at that time, he needed his way out. Very similar to what's going on with Cincinnati sports now with the Reds. The Reds owner just one of the Reds front office owners just told the fans on opening day, where else are you going to go if you don't like the product? Get out of here.
Yeah.
And that was
what you wish for.
His motto in 2004 and 5 and 6. Yeah. And now the Bengals PR team and front office are rock stars in this town. So Corey did what he needed to do. I fully supported that, and I'm glad he got his ring.
So you were rooting for him in 2004.
What's that?
The Super Bowl that he plays in, you were definitely all about him. No,
we were rooting for Corey Dillon. And that's
not the Patriots, just Corey Dillon. Got it.
No, we were rooting for Corey Dillon, not the Patriots.
I get that.
We were rooting for Corey Dillon. But just going back and watching the video, just seeing, fifth year for Belichick and everything they were building up to, it's kind of neat to go back and watch that in hindsight and look at where they were. We're not Patriot haters as much as you think we are, Mr. Brown. We're Bengals supporters.
Yeah, so
Corey Dillon, and we were rooting for Chad Johnson when Chad got there, and I wish that would have worked out.
Yeah.
You guys got our can we call them sloppy seconds on there?
Yeah.
Well, you guys got our sloppy seconds, and Corey worked out. Chad didn't.
You know what worked out?
But
Rex Burkhead. He was sweet.
Oh, Rex Burkhead too?
Rex actually played a lot of golf at one of our former properties. All right. So Rex was a very nice young man. Yeah. You guys got caught a couple sloppy seconds, but no, we were rooting for Corey Dillon. We really were. He worked his tail off.
Yeah, that's what it seems like when I was doing my deep dive on him. He was just the kind of guy who was like the lone bright spot on the Bengals for basically his entire career.
Yeah. Willie Anderson was awesome at that time and should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, as a tackle. But Corey was just he was a blue collar grinder, Cincinnati. I hate to say the word Pittsburgh, but not one of those Northeast, country type, Northeast America types that get it all handed to them. Corey Dillon was a grinder, and he just worked his tail off. So that's why we supported him when he left, even though he went to the enemy.
See, you can tell David's never even been out of the state of Kentucky.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's talk about this 2004 Bengals team briefly too. Because like you said, this is Carson Palmer's first year as a starter. Started off a little rocky and then seemed to turn it around. They had won coming into this game. They had won their 4 of their last 5. The week before they had beat the Ravens. Fourth quarter comeback. Carson Palmer played probably his best game of his career at this point. And the week before that was the shootout with the Browns that we talked about last week when the Patriots played the Browns. That's the, what was it? It was like 48-45. I think it's still the second highest scoring non-overtime game in the history of the NFL. And it was Browns-Bengals. And the Bengals still won by 2 scores in a shootout. So So they're coming in flying pretty high. They're even though they're only 6-6, but Carson Palmer does get hurt in this game in the second half. It was almost foreshadowing the Kimo Van Olofsson hit, I thought, because it was kind of like low in the side of his knee, and I guess he had a sprain in his knee, is what they said in the highlights afterwards.
Before someone hit Tom Brady like that, and the NFL made it illegal.
Right. Well, actually, they made it illegal when Carson.
Yeah, we can call that the Tom Brady rule, not the Carson Palmer
There's
rule.
all sorts of Tom Brady
Unfortunately,
rules.
I think it is the Carson Palmer rule, didn't they? They put it in that off season,
Really?
And then it's just everybody remembers the Tom Brady one because he was coming off his 2007 season.
Yeah. Very sad.
Yeah. So this is a kind of a promising upstart Bengals team. But a bright spot would be that they would make their first appearance on Monday Night Football since 1992, where they would beat the Denver Broncos at home. But their one, I would say, Achilles heel for this team, up until just very recently, was that they were coached by Marvin Lewis. And so I'm curious to get a Bengals fan's perspective on Marvin Lewis, because he was one of those coaches who, it's almost like the Andy Dalton line, where it's the Marvin Lewis line, where he will get you the playoffs, but you will not win a playoff game. And is that good or is that not good?
He's like a little bit better Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, in 2005, Marvin Lewis was great. We came out of nowhere. We started to win games. 2005, they were the AFC champions, if I believe right. That was the year after this year. So you could, Marvin came in and changed the culture, but he changed the culture to we're good enough. We're good enough to make the playoffs. We're good enough to win 9 or 10 games. And that was great until good enough became the standard.
Right.
And so that was a problem. But in that 2004 game, with the talent that they had, with the first year starter, Marvin was a hero. Not to get into anything much more, we had an African-American coach, one of the few, and I think it resonated great with the players at that time to have one of the few, and to Chad and Husmanzada, who's a very strong personality. I don't know if we could have had a different coach at the time to get to the hump. The problem was Marvin could never get them over the hump.
Right.
But if we're going back to the 2004, 2005, 2006 era, it certainly was better than Dave Shula. And, a lot of the coaches we had pre-Marvin Lewis. And he's had a great tenure. But if you asked me that question in 2004, we were ecstatic.
Yeah.
You asked me that question in 2008, 17, 16, before we made the switch. It's time to make a switch. And the same would have been said for a current coach after year 1 and year 2. So I really believe, you have to give these guys a little more leash than what they need. It's hard to change culture, as Mr. Brown knows in everything we do. Steve, it's hard to change culture. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy.
It's not hard for me. I don't have to do any of it.
Well, it's easy.
It looks hard, sure.
Yeah, it's easier from your studio bedroom, but it's a little harder when you're on the ground.
That feels about right. That sums up.
But no, we love Marvin. We loved Marvin for a long time, and it was time for a change. That's all.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, he didn't fare very well against Belichick and the Patriots. The Pats went 6-1 versus Marvin Lewis-led Bengals. Steve, do you remember the loss, or do either of you remember the Patriots loss to the Bengals? Happened in 2000.
Preseason? Was it preseason? That's the only one I can remember.
It was not. It was. I only remember because it was in the rain and Brady just couldn't throw a touchdown. It was one of those like slog games in Cincinnati, and it was just awful.
What year was it?
2013. It was just.
It was like the lost years.
It was a tough game.
This game does have a name though.
Okay.
Remember
It
we
does.
talked about how certain games have names and you rewatch them like, oh yeah, that's the whatever game.
Yeah.
This is the I don't know, what do you call it? What's your name for this game, Andy?
The Corey Dillon revenge game?
No. You're thinking of you missed the big play. Where you did.
Well, I mean, which big play? There's a few.
Do you call it like a butt pass or the seated pass or?
Okay. So there is that. I mean, there's a lot to get into in this game. But before we do that, let's just real quick. I want to go over some of the other coaches in this team, because just the fact that they were, fuck it, doesn't matter. Never mind. I'll try to shoehorn Hugh Jackson in there somehow, but fuck it.
Is he on the coaching
You
staff?
can leave Hugh Jackson out of a lot of conversations, and we'll be okay here in Cincinnati.
It's not where. Yeah, I mean, he's the wide receivers coach, and he's coaching Chad Jackson and TJ Hushmazoo.
Nice.
And somehow managed to turn that into a head coaching career where he went 3-36-1 with the Browns. And perhaps some of the worst.
He was 500 with the Raiders.
For how many games? 2?
Yeah, 1-1.
I think he was 8-8 with the Raiders.
All right. I mean,
but Hugh is not a someone else we're gonna really want to talk much about in Cincinnati because he's still a little disgruntled since he didn't get the head coaching job here when Marvin decided to step down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, he did. He went 8-8 in Oakland before going 1-15, 0-16, and then 2-5-1 in Cleveland in 3 years.
How did he get that third season?
I've got my stats there. Yeah, Brown team. I know my Hugh Jackson, but no, I mean the stuff that stuck out from that ball game with me, with the revenge game. One, I don't think Dillon got much revenge.
He did.
He scored on a touchdown that wasn't a touchdown.
True.
He was actually down.
Yep.
It looked like a Rudy Johnson revenge game in the first half.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was kind of running
his defense at the time was.
It was mostly a ball control game, wasn't it? I mean, pretty much it came down to ball control. That interception for a touchdown, I think, changed it. And I love Troy Brown, two-way player. And, Troy Brown and who scored the touchdown on the interception?
Asante Samuel.
Rookie.
But looking at that defense on that team, how are the Bengals going to win against Brisky, Harrison, Seymour, McGinnis, Will Fork?
You can keep going. Yeah.
Coming into the game, everyone was worried because the Bengals could throw the ball around the yard, and we're starting Earthwind Moreland. And
this was a season where they just didn't have defensive.
That defense, I don't know how many Hall of Famers you have on that defense, but you got a lot of names.
Oh, yeah.
Their secondary is so bad.
Yeah, it was just the secondary that was the issue. And so going up against a pass-heavy team, you would kind of expected the Bengals to come out just slinging the ball, and they really didn't. They had most of their success on the ground.
They ran Rudy a lot, and Rudy had a great game, except for that fumble that I don't think was a fumble either, but we can, between the non-fumble and non-touchdown, the Bengals probably win that game. But
I don't know, because there was a third down. They would have gone for it on fourth, and Corey Dillon would have punched that through.
But I think that was one of the first times that Brady sneak really turned into a Brady sneak.
You think so?
He snuck it on fourth down and got about 3 yards, and that changed the game too.
Well, that's just what he's been doing.
That's the Brady sneak.
Yeah. Like since week one, that of his career, that's kind of what he's been doing. I don't know how it took so many teams so long to stop it. I'm a little surprised that the play that I keep seeing pop up is the Patriots go 5 wide real quick, and Brady's in the shotgun to start out with, sends everybody out wide so that you don't have much of defenders in the box, then just steps up underneath the center and gooses him and gets the 2, 3, however many yards he needs that way. And it's just
he gets 3 when he needs 1.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets 3 when he needs 1. He doesn't get 1.5
No.
He always gets 3. So.
Yeah, and he does it every time. I think he has like a 98% success rate or something. He's been doing it for 20 years. It's unbelievable. One of the best short yardage backs in the history of the NFL.
Well, that's how he got to 1,000 yards doing it, right? Like 2 yards at a time.
He did. I think his longest carry is like 22 yards.
I think we've already seen it too.
Yeah.
It was like 0-2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was not recent.
Damn baby gazelle out there with all arms and legs. It was hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah. It does. It looks like a baby giraffe. Just been born, learn how to use its arms and legs.
So from Pats fans, why is this called the Dillon revenge game if Dillon was a non-factor?
It's because he really only plays 1 year, right? Because Corey Dillon's not really a factor outside of this one season.
I mean, this is his big. I think he next season does okay, but yeah, the wheels kind of fall off him. He gets hurt and gets replaced by Lawrence Maroney, I believe, of all people.
And I say this is not known for the Corey Dillon revenge game. This game is known for that play where Tom Brady lands on his ass after like stumbling over his own feet, dropping back, and throws.
That's in my notes, and I love that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sum that up in a name, but like I don't know the butt pass name, the game. I don't know.
I don't know why it's a Brady revenge game because I've got in my notes Brady passes from his ass.
The ass pass. There you go.
It should be the ass pass game, but I still don't think he had the. I think people are still figuring out who he was, and I think between the quarterback sneak, the ass pass, and just the way he handled himself. I mean, you got Christian Fourier scoring a touch. I mean, you got Troy Brown scoring, getting an interception.
Yep.
I mean, it's just always been the no name. Other than the names are on the defense on that team.
Yep.
And that's awesome. And I wish in Cincinnati we had that kind of luck.
And no receivers over like 5'10".
Yeah. All these tiny little guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, to your point, I think the reason this is the Dillon revenge game is because that's how it was posed pregame, And like all the highlights were about how Corey Dillon was still hated by the Bengals, and like even in the announcers when he scored his first touchdown, he's like, "Oh, it's nice to see everybody still being professional and that there was no extra pushing and shoving after he scored," sort of shit. So I think they were expecting it to be this like super kind of like scrappy touch and go sort of thing, and it just wasn't.
Well, that's a testament to his work ethic here in Cincinnati. The people that were in the trenches with them, that grinded with them, were happy for him.
Yeah.
And at that time, most of them probably wished they were him and were out of Cincinnati. And so they didn't hold that against him. They were happy for him because he actually found his way. It was dysfunctional in all means here at that time and has been up until the last couple of years. So yeah, I mean, I get it. And the last image of him in Cincinnati was throwing his pads in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
So how else are you going to do the story going into it as broadcasters other than he's going back up against them? But no, I think that everybody was classy, and he still didn't score on that touchdown.
Hey, and let's not pretend like Corey Dillon didn't have a good game. 22 carries, 88 yards, a touchdown.
It's 4 yards.
And they said in the broadcast he's the only player ever, and that this may even still stand, to get 75 plus rushing yards in every game he's played.
What was Rudy Johnson's stats?
They're kind of similar.
Very similar, right? I don't think
24 for 89.
Yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dillon had one less yard, but a better average and a tutty.
Right.
And Kitna came in and played pretty well at the end.
He did. Yeah. Kitna had 9 for 13, 126, a touchdown and a pick.
Yeah. But I mean,
Detroit Brown.
It's tough to say you've had a good day as a quarterback when the one interception you threw was to a converted wide receiver.
In the end zone.
Yeah, that's not good.
In the end zone,
That's a bad place to throw a pick, too.
And, I mean, Drew Bledsoe can attest. But my favorite fact from this game is after this game, Troy Brown has now 3 interceptions on the season, which is tied for the team lead in interceptions. Troy Brown is leading the team, leading this defense of all defenses. The 2004 New England Patriots
was amazing. That was right when he played everywhere, and he wound up didn't his career end at the Pro Bowl with a catch in the sand, and he hurt himself.
No, that was their running back. Yeah, Robert Edwards.
Oh, that was a running back. Not sure.
Yeah,
but not Troy. Yeah, he played everything. He did everything. That wasn't Troy that hurt himself in the Pro Bowl.
No. Robert Edwards. What's 2005?
No, Robert Edwards was early 2000s.
Oh, that was Robert Edwards.
I think it was it may have actually been 2000. Because he was supposed to be the replacement for Curtis Martin, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And he had a great rookie season in the Pro Bowl. He tore it and was just never the same.
Played sand football. Just exploded his knee. Never played. No, he did play again.
He did. He played for
on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. He played for Miami.
Yeah.
And did nothing because he just wasn't the same guy.
Can I list off the Bengals turnovers in this game?
Okay.
First drive, Rudy Johnson fumble on the 12.
Yeah.
Even though David was actually a fumble.
Doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure he was down.
In the game log.
Yeah.
Then pick six after the Patriots scored a touchdown. They come out and immediately throw a pick six.
Yeah. So the Patriots scored 2 touchdowns in 12 seconds.
Yeah. And then John Kitna throwing that interception to Troy Brown in Troy Brown's own end zone.
Yeah.
Late in the game.
And he took it out to the 3, which he should have stayed down.
He should have. But I mean, when you're a wide receiver and a punt returner, all that just looks like green fields. You can't help yourself.
But they're on the New England 10-yard line, so it's 3 turnovers inside the 15.
Yeah, in the red zone,
on their own or in the Patriots.
Yeah,
and Corey Dillon was traded for the Medea Williams, I think, is what that pick wound up being. He was traded for a pick that turned into Medea Williams, and Medea was a fan favorite here. But yes,
safety,
yes. Right? Brady falls and completes pass from his ass is the biggest thing I have circled in my notes. And that should be the butt fumble and the ass pass. That should be those 2 games should go down in history. I bet you if they replayed that on ESPN now, most people probably forgot about that ass pass.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think
but you see it as a big just saying, you go, oh shit, I remember that, but you haven't really thought about it.
No, yeah.
That's the difference between us and the Jets. The Jets have the butt fumble. We have the ass pass. This is 2 totally different franchises going in totally different directions. For
you also won that game, and I don't think the Jets won that butt fumble game.
Oh, no, they very much did not.
They got 40. They got 4 touchdowns scored in a minute and a half, right?
It was 3 touchdowns in under a minute.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez looks great on TV, though.
Sure. He does. He's a very pretty man.
Guys, any other questions for me before I bog down your stuff too much? I could do this for days and days. I love this stuff.
I know you can.
I mean, we started a podcast to do this, so we could also do this for days and days.
So what's Brady going to do? Is this last hurrah? What do you guys think?
You know what? It's nice not to have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, it's basically
really nice. You don't have to. It's not really my problem.
Yeah,
we got Mac Jones.
He's reached his Brett Favre era.
Yeah,
you're secretly stalking him, Steve Brown. I know you are.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I always love Tom Brady.
His DMs. You're keeping an eye on him. I know you are.
Of course, I keep an eye on him. He's it's like an ex-girlfriend. You sometimes check their social medias or whatever.
Just to see if they're happy or less happy without you.
Hopefully everything's working out for them. Wish them all the best.
And if it's not the best, that's fine too.
Yeah. If it's not the best, that's a little better.
It's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Troy Brown is the Patriots player that you marry. You love Troy Brown. He's everything you ever wanted.
I love Troy Brown as well.
We're the number 1 Troy Brown fans. We're working our hardest to get him on this podcast.
Yeah.
Then we'll stop it, or I might stop. Then my life's mission will be accomplished.
But yeah, I mean, what more is there after that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Being able to talk to Troy Brown about his time on the Patriots
and how much we love him. It'll be weird for him.
Oh, it definitely will be.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Do I have any more Bengals stuff? I don't think so. mean, this is just, it's one of those like forgotten games where there's like a lot of cool stuff that happens, but there's nothing particularly memorable about the game itself. Like it wasn't
watchability score, Andy.
It wasn't really back and forth. I mean, watchability score. So what we do it out of 6 Lombardis. I would say 4. There's a good amount of scoring. There's some great plays. It's definitely rewatchable. And it's one of those maybe like not quite on the forgotten gems level, but it's close to that, I would say.
I give it a 4.5.
Okay.
A 4 in an AFC championship ring, if you will.
I could be
because there's a lot of
convinced.
Great big name players in this, and they all ball out. TJ Houshmandzadeh has his
like
awesome
12 catches or something, yeah?
Yeah, Earth, Wind,
Yeah, he had 11 the last I kept track of. TJ was a ball. I would say on the Bengals side, I know this is a Patriots podcast, but on the Bengals side, it was definitely a little bit of a turning point. Like, we can play with these guys.
Yeah.
And the next year, they won the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
And that started their, couple year run in the playoffs with Marvin. They never won a playoff game, but I think it was a measuring stick game for them.
Yeah.
You could see there was a little chippiness, but overall, I mean, the Patriots dynasty had already started, but nobody knew what it was going to actually be.
Right.
But they went toe-to-toe with them, and they kept it close. And so, from a Bengals fan perspective, it was like, okay, we're close. We don't fumble. We don't throw that interception. And maybe we win that game, and we're 7-6 instead of 6-7. Yeah. And from then on, it went great. And Belichick was in his 5th year, I think, as a coach. And now, look at him.
Still the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been wrecking people, too, at that point.
His halftime interview was great. It looked like Belichick today. He had the same answers he would today. So
he talks a little bit more back in the day. He's a little...
You guys are very fortunate to have what you have there, and I feel sorry for you in the AFC going forward because with this new offensive line and all the skill players we have, it's going to be, you'll be on my podcast here in about 3 years.
All right. We will hold you to that.
Sure, we'll come on your podcast.
Someone just has to teach me how to do a podcast. Steve.
Well, when is the Joe Burrow versus Mac Jones matchup? That'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this year coming up? I think so.
I don't know.
I'm Googling it right now. We need our stat check, bro.
Fact check. Yeah, let's 2022 schedule. They do play the Bengals at Foxborough this year.
What week?
It hasn't been determined yet.
Oh, right. It hasn't been released yet.
Correct.
So there you go. We'll see. We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Maybe the Patriots would be like, wow, we can really hang with these guys. They went to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, those guys
right.
Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, measuring stick.
It might be, yes. It'd be a little heat check for the Patriots here coming up.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'll let you go unless you need me for anything else. Steve, you got anything else for me?
Thanks for coming on, David.
Yeah.
Andrew, anything else I can answer about Steve? You want to know his deepest, darkest secrets?
This goes the other way around, bro.
I already know
they're
them.
all 34. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing good in that closet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I appreciate being on.
Yeah, I really liked having you. Thanks a lot, David.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
All right, take it easy.
Take it easy, guys.
I mean, it's got some Coach O vibes.
Yeah, I told you, Coach O.
Yeah.
Kentucky Coach O. He's the best.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed Greg's not here because I had a genius Bill Belichick thing for him to scoff at.
Yes.
So a couple of them, actually.
Oh, multiple.
Right. Yeah. So maybe we'll save this for Greg. We'll cut this clip and play it for him. But at the beginning of the game, they're talking about how, the Patriots are 11-1 coming into this game. So, they need some motivation to play a 500 Bengals team. But I guess these two teams have played in the preseason and the Bengals were up 31-0 at halftime over the Patriots. So Belichick spent the entire week playing the lowlights because he was saying that we got whooped, and they're like, "Oh, it's just preseason." He's like, "Yeah, all our starters were in though." So he was playing all of the bullshit stuff that happened in the preseason just to get him hyped for this. And the other thing was that one of the Bengals defensive backs, Torrey James, apparently super long dude, big long arms. So Belichick had the defensive backs carrying racquetball rackets to knock down footballs.
That's a classic,
right? It's like the 2001 Super Bowl where he had all the wide receivers line up 3 yards off sides.
Yep.
To simulate the speed of the Rams offense. Just thinking outside the box. Steve, you know what that is? That's genius.
Coaching. Oh yeah.
Fucking genius.
That's so smart.
Nobody else does that.
No one else has thought to use pregame.
No one knows the thing. No one even knows the thing about that.
I think he's on our team.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh
yeah, he's the best. He's no Troy Brown. This is another peak Troy Brown game. Troy Brown. I mean, yes. This is premium Troy Brown we're in right now.
Yeah. Even the fact that he actually got a defensive holding call that was declined because he's covering TJ Houshmandzadeh on third downs out of the slot.
He also draws OPI on Houshmandzadeh.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
One of the two. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. This is peak Troy Brown. This in 2001, like 2001 peak, like offensive Troy Brown, like 01, 02. And this is peak, just like Patriot Troy Brown, right? You're
Troy Brown,
prototypical
player,
prototypical New England Patriot,
just football player, Yeah.
I'm wondering if it was this season that he lined up as the emergency quarterback in the preseason.
Probably.
Let's see. Talk amongst yourselves, Steven.
I'm going through whatever else I got on my notes here.
No, it was 2006. So he hasn't even done that yet. Line up a quarterback.
He's doing this back 9. He's on like 17 at that point.
2006. Well, he's still around 2007 when.
We talked about if him
Randy
and
Moss was it?
Randy Moss crossed, and they did.
Yeah. So here's a good stat that I wanted to bring up about Corey Dillon, because they showed how he's doing this year compared to his career high numbers, like just across the board. So his career high rushes per game were just over 21. This season, he's averaging 23 carries a game. His career high for rushing yards per game in a season was previously just over 89. This year, it's over 100. It's 111 yards. His yards per rush is still 4.8, which matches his career high. And he, in this game, gets his 10th touchdown of the season, which matches yet another career high. So he's setting career highs in literally every statistic this season.
It's tough that he doesn't ball out more years than just this one, He
does. Yeah, I mean, he sets...
Like it's like the only year I even remember Corey Dillon.
Well, that's because you were like 12. He's been around.
No,
but
like
also
when I think back about the Patriots dynasty, it's like, Corey Dillon 04. But no one's like Corey Dillon 05, 06, 07. It could have been.
Oh, you're talking about on the page. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, 05, he struggled with injuries and stuff.
This looks sort of the end of his career. Like this is his last good season, I feel like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think he goes somewhere else eventually.
Nope. No, he retires as a Patriot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Put him in the Hall.
I would agree.
Is he actually a Hall of Famer NFL?
It doesn't say anything anywhere of him being a Hall of Famer in his Wikipedia, so I'm going to say no, which is a shame because he set the rookie record for rushing yards in a game, which again has since been broken. 39 times for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns over the Tennessee Oilers, which broke Jim Brown's rookie single season game record that had stood at that point for 40 years. I think it's been broken since by somebody weird. Where is it? Mike Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, has since broken that. He also held the singles game rushing record overall, which again has since been broken. But he ran for 278 yards against the Broncos, which broke Walter Payton's 275, which again had stood for like 40 years because Walter Payton was way back then. Yeah, he said it in 77. And then
he plays all 16 games in 2006.
Yeah, but I think he's hurt when he's doing it. Oh, actually, no. 2006, he was sharing the backfield with Lawrence Maroney.
He still has 13 touchdowns. That's his career high.
That's not bad. So I think he may have been the short yardage back, perhaps.
I mean, his touchdowns for the Patriots go 12, 12, 13.
Oh, yeah.
His yards go from 1,600 to 733 to 812, but his carries are 200-ish. I mean,
boy can score touchdowns.
He's good in 05. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this is the only year he's good, but looking at the stats, he definitely only plays 12 games in 05, but 6 he plays the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Carries at a 4.1 average and scores 13 touchdowns and 800 yards. Like today, that's like Damon Harris balling out,
right?
Yeah,
but that's not the 4.8 yards of carry he's getting in 2004, right? So
I guess he didn't play long enough really to get in the hall, but still.
In which hall?
I mean, if you think he's 8 years into his career, played every single game except for a couple in his last year in Cincinnati, and he gets over 75 yards every single one of them.
He's a true workhorse back. Yeah,
he's he's one of those old school.
Well, I don't think he got 75 yards in every single game he's ever played. I think it was with the Patriots.
No, I think they said in his career.
No, because I saw something where there was some drama about him like coming off the field and like not going back on because he had like 12 carries for 9 yards in one game because his offensive line was so bad.
I refuse to believe that. It's fake news.
Okay. I mean, it's probably easily looked up. Probably easily looked up, but
tell me if this stat has been beat, Andy.
What's that?
Patriots extend their record to 18 straight games scoring first.
I saw that, yeah. And also, they also have not allowed an opening drive touchdown in the last 28 games, which is fucking bananas.
That is because they're about to score a touchdown. They're driving on this thing and then he fumbles it. Unless you asked David, and then it wasn't a fumble.
They figure it out every time.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, yeah.
That's got to be a record, right?
I would have to imagine.
Scoring first is in 18 straight. I mean, it's a season plus.
Scoring first consecutive games NFL record. Let's see. Top NFL streaks. Oh, it's a fucking slideshow. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, jeez.
Brutal. Most consecutive, most Super Bowl appearances. Games won. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna losses. Scoring. Oh boy.
All right. I don't care.
Yeah.
We'll find out when it ends, what it actually ends up, and then we can figure it out then. How about that?
Okay.
All right. What else you got on this game?
Let's see.
Let's talk about the announcers. I know you have big feelings on those.
No, I blocked him out.
Really? What about the time when the dude saw a piece of trash on the field and thought it was a flag?
Mm-hmm.
I feel when I saw that, I thought, oh, wow, Andy's going to be real triggered by that.
Uh-huh. Because it was on the Asante Samuel pick six.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh, wait, there's a flag down. And they even like flipped the little like yellow flag thing in the presentation. Like there's a flag on the field, and obviously somebody whispered in his ear, "That's not a flag. That's trash." He's like, "Oh, wait, no, it's a McDonald's box." But look, it's got yellow on the side of it.
Yep. No, you didn't like it. Okay. What about them saying Belichick never pounds a square peg into a round hole?
He does it all the time.
You just a hater, Andy.
Yes.
That fumble was like they waited to call that too.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was like the play was over and like, you know what? Let's call that a fumble.
Yeah. Yeah, it took them a while to figure out what was going on. But I mean, it's par for the course because this is Deerdorf, wasn't it?
Yep.
definitely sound like Deerdorf.
I'm
So
pretty sure. I don't know.
we all know how I feel about Deerdorf, as if he's watching a different game. So water off a duck's back, Steve. I'm a father
That's
now.
not
I
true.
can't carry
It's
that
not.
anger.
You're trying to do this, but I know deep down that
No, I'm a father now.
Yeah, makes it worse. Now you're all stressed out, and now you got to watch this guy or listen to Deerdorf.
No, it's
Very naughty.
it's fine. They did talk about Charlie Weiss though, because apparently he has unofficially, I think it kept kind of going back and forth because it's Dan Deerdorf. Announced that he's going to be the head coach of Notre Dame.
I don't think it had been announced, but it was like Adam Schefter at this point had tweeted it.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
That version of whatever that is in 04.
Exactly. So it was like unofficially official, basically.
Yeah.
And the other thing kind of swirling around this game that didn't have anything to do with it was Peyton Manning chasing Marino's touchdown record.
That was the fucking worst. Insufferable.
Yeah,
it's insufferable. And I remember hating it at the time too.
Yeah.
Now that I'm seeing these again, bring back all that PTSD about, I don't give a shit.
Right. And also like all his touchdowns were within the 5-yard line. So he's throwing on every single drives just so he can get the record. Because there was actually a stat recently that I saw. I wonder if I saved it, but it was basically, Tom Brady has thrown all these touchdowns, but somebody went back and found how many short yardage touchdowns all the offenses of the top quarterbacks had. And Tom Brady had twice as many whoever was in second, Peyton or Aaron Rodgers, something like that. But they had twice as many rushing touchdowns within 5 yards than any other quarterback. So Brady was never the one to go, or Belichick or whoever was calling the offense was never one to be like, oh, we're just going to sling it from the 5 just to get Brady some touchdown stats.
Whatever's
he did it without that. So he did it without padding. Yeah, it's whatever won the game.
Some other idiot on the internet went and got a GIF of every single Tom Brady touchdown pass and put it on a website.
TomBradyTouchdowns.com.
Fucking loser.
TomBradyTDs.com. And in fact, there is there's a new graph on there, Steve. I don't know if you've been recently.
A new graph.
Yeah.
Kind of go viral with this one too, bro.
It's a scatter plot.
What did Greg say today in the group chat?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't even read it, Andy, huh?
I usually just tune you guys out.
No, this isn't the family one. Those pics would do numbies on the gram.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well, this is probably too nerdy to do numbies. Because
you have another website, TomBradyTDs.com.
Yeah. And it's just all his touchdowns because I couldn't track all his Buccaneers touchdowns on PatsDynasty.com.
Oh yeah, of course not. Of course not.
So right now it only has his Patriots touchdowns, but I have tracked the game time, time remaining in the quarter for each touchdown, and created a scatter plot. Touchdowns. The x-axis is game time, and the y-axis is the distance of the touchdown pass. So it just kind of shows you where all the grouping is. There's a whole mess of touchdowns within a minute of the second quarter ending, like a stack of them, and then again, kind of towards the end of the game as well. Kind of the end of every quarter, kind of seems. And for some reason, with 12 minutes left in the second quarter, there's a massive stack as well.
Yeah, how does Tom Brady have 2 touchdowns with -7 air yards? He's just throwing it behind the line.
Screenplays, yeah. The air yards I based on
screenplays aren't -7s though. I mean, I get the 4s, 5, the 3 is 14 3 yards behind. Those are screens.
No, some of them. Here's the thing: you can click on any single one that's there, and it will show you the video of the play.
Not your site's broken, bro. Click on it now.
It's not.
Listen to me click.
I just did it. I'm looking at it.
Nope. Maybe it just renders wrong.
So it's Brady Antoine Smith, where he rolled out to the right. Oh, this is against the Saints in 2001. That game, we rolled to the right and then threw it back to the left. Antoine Smith, he was 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And similar to the James White one, too. It's kind of, he's out of the shotgun and he has to drift back and then throws it kind of as like a swing pass behind the line of scrimmage. James White behind the line of scrimmage. That one.
Oh, so I was clicking the graph. I didn't click on the right, the bars.
Well, how is clicking on the graph going to do it, Steve?
Because it would bring it up and then I'd VLC.
I know reading comprehension is hard, but all the touchdowns at the top, you can click on all the dots and that will play the video.
It's crazy. As long as touchdown's only 55 air yards.
I mean, that's kind of a lot.
I don't know. I feel like not really anymore.
I mean, I don't know. You'd have to look up. And this is just like from the line of scrimmage, how far did the ball go?
If you only count yards gained on passes that went for TDs, he has more yards than Rex Grossman.
Correct.
That's not very impressive. Rex Grossman fucking sucks, dude.
Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl.
I know he did, and he's like universally panned as like the worst Super Bowl quarterback of all time.
Oh, that's not true.
Who's the worst? The Ravens guy? Kyle? No, who was the?
Yep, Kyle Bowler. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's either
2000
Ravens.
Yeah. It was
Rex Grossman's right there with him.
Kerry Collins. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, but he was still a starting quarterback that went to Super Bowl, and Tom Brady has thrown more passing yards just on touchdowns alone than he has. Tom Brady has thrown more playoff touchdowns than Joey Harrington or Jay Fiedler. And they ever threw it
again. Those aren't like super impressive. Those guys suck.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how this works, Steve. It's not like he's going to throw more playoff touchdowns than Peyton Manning has ever thrown touchdowns, is it?
You're right. There's a lot of touchdowns in the last second of the second quarter.
Yep. There's a lot.
There is one Bucks TD on here. What are you talking about?
There was one. Yeah. So it's 2 playoffs. This is riveting, I'm sure, for people to listen to.
Well, they should go on the website. It is actually very interesting. And I can't believe you found time to make this fucking website. Don't you have a newborn?
This is pre-newborn. and the graph at the top is all just data entry when I'm waiting for stuff to compile at work. So I can do that in chunks.
You're a goddamn loser, Andy.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're here with me, Steve. So what does that say about you? You are the company you keep.
Well, the whole pick your boogers, pick your friends, but not your family thing.
I mean, you moved away from us, and yet you're still here Thursday nights on our Zoom call without fail.
Yeah,
not missing any of them.
It was bearable when Dave was on, but now it's just it's tough.
I agree.
Can we talk more about Troy Brown though? Because I like that part.
All right, talk to me about Troy Brown.
He seals the game with a first down reception.
Yeah, after getting the interception.
Yeah,
and that was one of his 2 catches in the game. Is that right?
It wasn't right after the interception.
Well, yeah.
Early fourth quarter. This is the last drive. 2 minutes left. They have no more timeouts. Tom Brady.
Where do you go?
2nd and 10 goes to Troy Brown for 20 yards.
Right.
Kneel. Game over.
One of his 2 receptions on the game was the biggest catch of the game.
That's why he's out there, the 2-minute drill, after playing defense the whole goddamn game.
Right.
So get out there, Troy. We need you to catch us a goddamn first down.
Yeah, you got to seal this.
Yeah.
But I think
and you know who was covering him and who had the tackle? This is funny. I didn't realize this.
Who was it?
Medea Williams.
Oh shit! the Corey Dillon draft pick.
The Corey Dillon pick, yeah.
That's hysterical. So yeah, I'd say this is a relatively watchable game if you can find it. I don't think this one's on YouTube, so you have to go digging for it. But yeah, I think if you can only watch a bit of it, watch the second quarter because that's when all the action happens, really. This
is an eminently watchable game though, because
yeah,
they got a little on him, but the Bengals kept keeping it close, and they're slinging the ball. They're actually running it. So generally, a lot of these games recently, the Patriots defense has just been absolutely locked down,
suffocating. Yeah,
and the games get out of hand quick. Where this game, you think it could have, Patriots kind of go up a little bit, but then Bengals come back. It's definitely a little back and forth, and you got a bunch of big names.
Yeah, a bunch of big, like early big names too,
and obviously it's a sick Troy Brown game.
Right. Yeah, which is worth watching generally.
He's out there outperforming Earthwind Moreland, who's just getting absolutely eaten up by TJ Hushmanzada.
Yeah, I think everybody was. TJ Hushmanzada.
I have a note. Earthwind is overmatched by everybody.
I mean,
it's not his fault, but
no. Because wasn't he I think undrafted or something? You know, he was backup on his team in college or something. Isn't that what we decided last week or the week before? He's not something you would expect to be a starting NFL player. But you know, this is where the Patriots are this season, and yet this 2004 defense is considered like one of the best defenses that the Patriots have ever had, even with this struggling defensive back. So,
yeah,
I'll take.
I mean, you don't really think about that because we were talking about if this is the best defense they've ever had, and might be even with just absolutely nobody in the. I mean, you get Rodney. That's probably crucial. If he got hurt in this year, they'd probably be a lot worse.
That's true. Asante Samuel has been around for a while.
Samuel's he's a rookie this year.
No, that's why he's actually been on the field.
Yeah,
is more what I mean. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think this is kind of the reason we go back and watch these games because we just forget that, like, oh yeah, 2004 defense is really good, but it's like, how the fuck did this defense play so well with literally a makeshift MacGyver defensive backfield of Troy Brown and Earthworm Moreland?
Yeah, and Dexter Reed playing significant time.
Significant time. He was like a core special teamer.
Gerard Cherry.
Uh-huh.
He's getting in there. It's just, oh my God.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, but also, I think we got to shout out the kind of the fuck you, Tom Brady. This was kind of peak that era too, where, Patriots score a touchdown and then Bengals come right back and score their touchdown. So it's a tie game. And that answered the drive to answer that, where Brady like immediately scored a touchdown was Brady complete for 9 yards to somebody named Jed Weaver, who is
with a neck roll.
Yeah, a tight end with a neck roll.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Beautiful. He was their third string tight end because Daniel Graham was out. So 9 yards to him, 13 yards to Kevin Falk on the play that you never see them run anymore, where he fakes the screen to the left and then spins around backwards and then throws the screen to the right.
Yep.
Which I used to love that play, but they never run it anymore. And then a deep bomb, 48 yards to Patton. And it's just like one of those, fuck you response drives. And then the next play is literally Carson Palmer pick six. Yep. This game went from tied at 7 to the Pats up by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, at 10:05, tied at 7 at 8:27. It was.
Yeah.
Patriots up 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, like the Patriots real quick drive, 3 plays to drive the length of the field. And then pick 6. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. That
even
change
then,
in an instant.
The Bengals go on a long drive and get it down to another touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So Ochocinco, 2.5 minutes left.
Right.
Patriots come back and score. 25 seconds left.
Yeah, exactly. It was just that. This is what I'm talking about. It was just that, like, fuck you response Patriots.
This is that situational football they've always been really good at.
Yeah, but it's not like they were driving up and down the field the entire game. It's just kind of every time the Bengals score, the Patriots are like, all right, well, fuck it. Now we got to do it. Like, if they, they go 3 and out every once in a while, but like as soon as they needed to score, like, fuck it, we're going to go score. And they just did it. Marched straight down the field.
I have a note about here about TJ Duckett coming in, or is that just a highlight that I saw?
That was a highlight. That was the Falcons highlight. Give me the Duckets.
That guy.
TJ Duckett. Also, something Rossum. I don't remember his first name. He was the kick returner, and I only know him because I would play Madden with my college roommates, and I was the Falcons, and I told my roommate not to kick it to Rossum because his name rhymes with awesome. And then for the first and only time ever, I returned the kickoff for a touchdown and was just screaming the fact that his name rhymes with awesome the entire play. And I did not let my roommate live that down.
This is when you were doing that instead of going to class, right?
No, this is after that.
Oh, this is not Penn State.
Right. Yeah. This is afterwards. This is after I learned to go.
This is you're like Corey Dillon on the Patriots.
Yes, I'm a 21-year-old freshman at UNH at this point, I believe.
Got it.
Thanks for bringing that up, Steve.
Yeah, well, as you ever bring me on this podcast, Andy, your dirty laundry aired out for the tens of listeners we have to hear.
That's right. Hey, we have like 20s of listeners.
What episode are we on? Are we getting close to 100?
Yeah.
What are we on? Do you know?
80 something.
Well, you
80 something.
better get Troy Brown on for number 100.
Or what? You gonna leave? You got something better to do?
What if number 100 would be the Chargers game?
Oh, I mean, Chargers games was in like 2005, right?
No, I think it's not this year, isn't it?
I don't think. No,
Sure?
Chargers games like way in the past.
I thought it was this year.
We have released 82 total episodes.
So we're on 83.
This will be 83, yes, when it goes live. And at this rate, there
How
won't
far
be an
we've
84.
come.
At this rate, there will not be an 84. What else you got in this game, Steve? Anything?
There's a note about Marvin Harrison getting a $22 million signing bonus and how massive that was.
How quaint.
And then the comparison to all the guys that are recently getting $75 million guaranteed.
Right, yeah. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the numbers these days are just outrageous.
And that shit ain't inflation, tell you what.
No, well, it's NFL inflation, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
All right,
yeah.
let's do best and worst.
All right. You want me to go first?
Sure.
My best is Troy Brown. Everything about him. Everything. Steve, he made a tackle. He got credited for a tackle in that game. Did you know that?
He's already had tackles though.
Yeah, but I mean, he did everything. Like he was catching game-stealing passes. He's making tackles. He's blocking, getting interceptions in the end zone, trying to return them.
2 catches, 2 first downs.
He had a pass defended as well. Oh yeah, 2 tackles, both solo. He doesn't need help. Troy Brown, defensive player of the game. No, okay. And I think my worst is just having to look at Marvin Lewis again, because he makes me sad for Bengals fans. Because I mean, David, he's like, oh yeah, no, we still kind of like him, but you could just like hear the sadness in his voice when he talked about Marvin Lewis. And I think also probably the ownership as well, I think had something to do with how bad they were, because the ownership's, I think, known to be pretty cheap, just generally. So
yeah. Oh, I mean that's all of them. Until that guy came and bought the Browns.
Yeah.
They were like that too. The Pittsburgh Pirates are like that. That guy is super stingy.
Yeah. They just don't give a shit. So it just makes me sad when other teams aren't run as well as the Patriots are, and also makes me thankful that we have Robert Kraft, who was actually a fan before he bought the team.
Yeah.
So he like gives a shit, instead of it just being like a money-making operation. So yeah. What about you?
I don't have a lot of worsts, except the whole Charlie Weiss leaving, because I think that actually affects the team pretty significantly. Him and Romeo Cornell leaving right around this time.
That's fair.
It takes him a while to get back from that. So it's like that's like the first sign, I guess, of the beginning of the lost years.
Yeah,
is what I'm gonna call it.
Fair.
And then watching the Patriots defensive backs play defense on Ocho and Hoosh. Ocho to Mucho, I have on here.
Ocho to.
And they both went to Oregon State, which I didn't know.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. And they both graduated the same year. They were both drafted by the Bengals in 2001.
Yep.
But
that's gonna be fun.
But Chad Johnson was drafted like in the first or second round.
Yeah, he's the first
round.
And
TJ was drafted in like the 6th or 7th round.
Yep.
But that's pretty fucking cool. And they were both like studs. Impressive.
Stephen Neal, NCAA champion. I didn't know that.
Undefeated wrestler, NCAA champion.
Is he undefeated?
Yeah, he was like 83 and 0 or 80 something and 0.
Someone, the Belichick or Skarnecchia had said he is the most like improved player they've ever coached.
Well, yeah, because he didn't play football.
Exactly.
Another is that another example of Belichick's genius, would you say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair. He finds guys that like no one even thinks to look at.
Right. Sebastian Vollmer from the
Nate
Ebner, yep.
He's going to get that Maryland lacrosse guy. He's got a huge heart on for that dude.
Oh, you mean Hogan? Chris Hogan?
No. There's a guy. He's like the all-time leading scorer for Maryland lacrosse.
That's right.
And he played for some D3 school quarterback and led them to the D3 championship and won it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
And no one knows that he's going to be in the NFL. But
we know.
Has Belichick written all of the
We
lacrosse
know.
part
Yeah.
of it. You kidding me?
He'll be invited to camp at the very least, right?
And this best is going to throw you off a little bit.
Oh,
But it was the Bengals fake field goal touchdown.
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I can't believe we haven't talked about this whole. I've been sitting on this thing. That was a sweet play.
I'm surprised David didn't bring it up. That was like probably the Bengals highlight of the game.
And it was right after Palmer gets hurt, right?
Yeah.
And like Kit hasn't even come out yet. And like, yeah, it's literally the play that he gets hurt. Carson Palmer's last play.
Yeah.
It's on that 3rd and 5.
Right.
From the 11. And they run this sweet. I don't know, put the highlight up on the website because it's actually worth watching.
Well, I'm not going to do that, but okay. I'll find a YouTube video and link it. We don't put other teams' highlights on this.
It's on the prime time.
It is, yeah.
And it's just, that was a cool play.
It was just well designed, yeah. It was kind of like
everyone
running
was
back
really
off tackle.
It's kind of a good call from Marvin Lewis. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" The quarterback just got blown up, and
right, yeah.
down, and like
the perfect timing
thinking
for
about
it.
that. And no one's thinking about the fake field goal at that point. So it was actually a pretty good coaching call in his sport.
Yeah, so he did have one. That's good.
Like, you think it was okay? I mean, for the Bengals in 2004 hadn't had a winning season since 1990. They'll take mediocrity, you know?
Yeah.
Mediocrity is a big step up for them.
Yeah, that was a touchdown run by Bengals legend Kyle Larson, their punter.
Yeah.
This was his rookie season, 2004. Life would never get better.
Yeah, he peaked early, week 14.
I mean, it happens. Yeah, that was his only ever
rush touchdown.
His only ever non-punt. Oh, he had a couple kickoffs. 3 kickoffs in his career.
Well, it'd be the worst if one of those was the one where what's his name, Mr. Big Chest stomps him in the chest.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, I think that must have been past his time.
Yeah,
though.
that's
he didn't play for a while. He only played till 2008. But yeah, that would be tough. Although in 2008, his final season, he did crack the century mark in punts. This is most ever. He kicked 100 punts, which feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. The Bengals went 4-11 and won that year. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. When you're shitty, you punt a lot.
Yeah. So, all right. You got anything else, Steve?
Good.
Talk about anything else? You good?
Gucci.
All right.
As the kids say.
Do they?
Let's post this to the gram, get the numbies, as Greg says.
Yeah, I don't think anybody says that.
Greg says it. He said it in the group chat and the family, and everyone ignored him.
Well, right, because that's what you do when somebody says something stupid like that. You ignore them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I think since he's here, we should
tune in next week to see how much of a blubbering little bitch Greg is on the Patriots Dynasty Podcast.
We should
You're
let him lead
assuming
us
he's
out.
going to be here next week, but okay.
We'll let him lead us out. Well, I mean, you'll have to tune in next week. What is next week, Steve?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, next week, this is a game that I vaguely remember. It's one of the losses that I care the least about, I will say.
Oh, well,
But it's also...
I know it's a loss.
Yep, you do. So go into it knowing that. But it's also a game that the winning team has named it themselves. So we'll tickle your teaser with that, Steve. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll find out when I watch it.
Okay.
If I watch it.
You'll watch it. You always watch it.
I don't always watch it.
Always watch it. All right. I think that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, David, for coming on and giving us a Bengals perspective on the old school early 2000s years. It's always nice to hear the suffering of other fans to make us feel
it
better.
makes me feel better about my life for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that we made the right decision following the New England Patriots instead of some
thank God
other
I was born in New Hampshire. Yeah,
awful team. Yeah. So next week the Patriots will travel to Miami, Pro Player Stadium, for a Monday night game against the 2-11 Miami Dolphins.
Oof.
And we will see what happens next week on the Patriots Dynasty Podcast. See you later.
See you later.